So today I'm going to talk about very interesting session, and this is going to be very interactive, something similar to what Gomti talked us already, and she has walked us one part of Power Platform, which is Power Pages, and I'm going to walk you through the other parts, other services which Power Platform offers, which is Power Apps, Power Automate, some sneak peek to Power Automate. I know I'm not going to cover everything in it. So today, what I'm going to talk about is how you can use AI Copilot as an app maker. For example, let's say you are a consultant, you are developing applications on top of Power Apps like Canvas apps, model driven apps. So how you can make the most of your development, because majority of the time what we do is we are making some cosmetic changes in the applications, like changing the name of the labels, adding color to the button, shadow, etc. All of these cosmetic changes related to UI, it takes majority of our time. We just have to identify where this component will be placed in our UI screen. That all things you can take care of by using AI Copilot. So AI Copilot is kind of an assistant for you, which will help you which will help you to enhance your productivity. Just like uh, previously, if I was creating an application which used to take around 10 to 15 minutes to develop, to add the components, not the whole application, it takes 10 to 15 minutes, just a simple UI with the components and adding some functions. Now probably that might come down to less than 5 minutes, because you have AI Copilot, wherein you can take help of Copilot to add, change labels, add colors, add buttons, etc. So firstly, as you might now know what I'm going to talk about, which is AI Copilot for app makers, which is Power Apps makers, and also how end users can make the use of Copilot right from Power Apps. So we'll take a look at that. Before I move on to the agenda, I'll like to give a shout out thanks to Binary Roots for sponsoring this event and having us over. And please stay tuned till the end of the session or till the end of the event so that you can win some exciting prizes. Okay. So I'll keep my introduction very short and very brief. So basically, I come from a background where I worked on Microsoft technologies like Power Platform, SharePoint, Teams, Azure, etc. So this is what my work involves. And also I'm a Microsoft MVP, and I keep on writing blogs, but not very frequently. So let's jump down to the agenda. What I'm going to do is I've divided into few sections. Firstly, we'll see what exactly AI Copilot is, because we are hearing this word Copilot a lot, and where exactly this Copilot fits into the Microsoft ecosystem. We look at that. Right now, today, I'm not going to talk about whole Microsoft ecosystem and the Copilots for productivity or team SharePoint. No, it is just limited to Power Platform and where that fits in. Next is prerequisites. So let's say if I want to perform or if I want to leverage this AI Copilot feature, how I can have that in my tenant. Probably not in your company tenants, because that has policies which might be restricted, and it is only available to few set of users. But you can definitely go ahead and pull up your demo tenant, demo accounts, and then you can enhance or enable this feature. And how you can do that, we'll take a look at. Apart from that, how you can create applications just by giving prompt or a normal conversation, just like how you go to Google and you just type in that, hey, give me this sample blogs on creating powerless canvas apps, right? Something like that. So that kind of natural language prompt we are going to add in AI Copilot, and we will be creating apps using that natural conversation. Along with that, we are going to add a Copilot component. So by now, probably those who have worked on Power Apps, Canvas apps, they might know there are different types of components, like text control, input control, or add image. These are the controls, right? These are the components. You can have your custom components definitely, but along with this, you also have another component, which is Copilot. Copilot is a new component which you can add, wherein your users who are going to use this app, they can just converse with the Copilot just like a bot, and you'll get your response from the Copilot. So this is what add Copilot control and demo and Q&A. So let me just go ahead and take you through what exactly Copilot is. So in the layman term or in the dictionary, what exactly Copilot is, if you would know that Copilot is just an assistant of a of a pilot, where you know that Copilot helps the pilot to take some decisions, or it helps uh, provide some information, but he or she is not qualified to take that command, right? Because Copilot can just instruct you or guide you, but they can't command that, hey, do this, you have to do that. No, that is what Pilot has to do. So in this case, in this scenario, Copilot is your AI assistant, and you are the pilot who, uh, you as in a developer, consultant, or an end user, you are on the driver's seat, and you are going to drive this whole example, creating applications on Power Apps or automations flows. You are the pilot, and Copilot is just an AI assistant. Now, talking about Copilot, what it is exactly. So it is just kind of a AI assistant wherein you can provide natural language prompts. Just like Copilot, can you please add a row to this table in Dataverse? Just like someone recently asked that, can I perform query operations in Dataverse table? So definitely you can go ahead and do that. You can ask Copilot to add a row, add a different type of column with a specific data type, add few data to that particular table. You can do all of these operations using Copilot. Along with that, let's go ahead and see where exactly this Copilot fits into the Power Platform ecosystem. So now we talked about what Copilot is, right? You can ask Copilot to perform some operations on your behalf. You can tell them to take this necessary actions. Now, where this fits in, Copilot in Power Apps, you can see that in whenever we'll go and check uh, uh, how you can have this feature into your environment. But apart from that, where this fits in, we are going to talk a very brief discussion on it, especially also on Power Automate. I'm not going to just read this slides because it is of no use. But yes, this is this image, probably what you're seeing behind the scenes. That is where Microsoft is focusing on. Copilot is just a large language models where a data or set of data is feed in, and from that you can perform some operations, and it trains itself. It is a generative AI, right? You give some prompts, and it will try to create or get you the answer which is not already, which it doesn't already have. So this is what generative AI, large language models is. Let's go ahead and look at the prerequisites. So now let's say I want to create a Power App using Copilot. How I can do that? So these are the prerequisite steps. If I'll walk or read, you will not understand. So let me just go to the setup. Okay. So this is my Power platform or Power Apps, make.powerapps.com. What I have to do is, first things first, I have to create an environment which supports Copilot. Right now, Copilot is not accessible in all different regions. It is only accessible in US region. So how you can get an environment in US region? Go to the Power Platform Admin Center. In environments, create a new environment, give some name to an environment, and region you have to select as US. So once you do this, you just select the type of the environment, just sandbox, trial, or production. Probably right now, it is better that you try this out in sandbox before you make it to the production, because Copilot, definitely, as we talk more about Copilot, you will come to know that there are few pros. Definitely there are advantages, but there are few disadvantages, or probably I can say Copilot is in the nascent stage right now, wherein it is not fully capable of performing all the operations. So it has few limitations. Let's say if I tell the Copilot to add a screen with many controls, just like how you as a developer would have visualized your design, it will not do right now because it is not supported. So once your Copilot is trained, once it is trained in such a fashion that it can perform all the operations, whatever you have in your mind, like whatever design you have, then probably you can take this and it is production ready. Right now, it is best to try it out, try some features out in sandbox or trial environment. So just spin up a new environment. Just make sure that this new environment is in US region, and along with this, there is another prerequisite, which is you have to create a Dataverse. So this environment which you're creating should also have the flexibility of Dataverse. So Dataverse should also be enabled. If it is not enabled, then it is not helpful for you to go ahead and create applications with Power Apps, because as of now, the Power Apps which we are creating with Copilot is only supported with Dataverse. So this is the limitation. But definitely for a new environment, you can go ahead and enable Dataverse. If you have that, then you have AI Builder, then you can have Copilot, etc. Now, once you spin this up, let's just go ahead and look at how you can have that Copilot feature in your new environment. So what I'll do is I'll go to the environment. I'll go to the Just a second. Yes. Settings, features. And if you see, this Copilot is enabled for me. So if you have this already enabled, then just spin up a new environment and you are good to go. So just you have to make sure that you have this feature enabled for your environment which is in US region. Now I have this. Let's just go ahead back to the slides. This is what I have already talked about. So I'll just give a recap. So prerequisites, you should have an environment which should be in US region. Next, it should have the Dataverse capability, or it should have Dataverse enabled. Once you have that, you have to go to the environments, features, and then you just have to enable that Copilot feature. That's it. Now you are all ready to use Copilot or create applications using Copilot. Let's just go ahead and see what's next. Okay. So now, as you can see from the screen, that is the Copilot screen where you are creating applications. So I'll go to the demo again, and I don't want to read throughout the slides. I'll go to my environment, make.powerapps.com. Okay, now I am in the same environment, Copilot test, where I have enabled that Copilot. And this is the new look and feel homepage of your Power Apps, where in the home itself, you can give a prompt or you can phrase your conversation of how you want your application to be. Or if you are starting or if you're creating a new app, then let's build it using a natural language prompt. Now, let me just go ahead and create a movie booking application. I'll just write a simple prompt, create a movie booking application for India region. Now let's see what it does. Okay. Now I'm into the Copilot experience where Copilot is taking my input and it is going to perform some operations. So as you can see from the side left navigation, what all suggestions I have? I can change something to something. Probably I can change a row data to some data, or I can validate, or I can just perform some operation on row, column, and data. I can add a new column altogether, definitely also a row, remove the row, and also change the data types of a column. Let's say I want a choice type of data type, but it has just given yes or no in the text type. So I don't want that. I can update it. I can refresh the data, and I can also ask Copilot to give me more suggestions so that I can have a data model which is more efficient and it has all the parameters which I want for my application. So right now, as you can see, I have the data table. I have data table which is created by Copilot. I did not do anything. I just gave a prompt. Let's see what it did. It gave me ID. Definitely, this is the primary key. Name. So who is booking that ticket? That person name, age, gender, address where I'm residing. Now you will start seeing advantages and disadvantages at the same time. I told Copilot to give India region, right? I specifically added India region just to show this, that even though we give some prompts, it is not able. So right now the environment is in US, so it doesn't allow you to add some other region. Now let's do some more things and see. It has provided me contact number, type, and region. So even though my address is of US, but region, because I emphasize, or it is kind of a hard coded thing that give me the details of India region, it added India. Now let's see what more we can do. You can edit these table properties right inside the experience. So if you can see the table name, definitely if you go to Dataverse, this is what you exactly do in the Dataverse. Ideally, what you do is you go to Dataverse table, you create new table, you add new columns and choose different type of data types, and then add some settings to it. And how much time it takes, right? You have to, probably a data table might have more than 15 to 20 columns, then it will minimum it will take 20 to 25 minutes for you to create a table. And within just 2 minutes, it did all this for you without even you have to update anything. So primary column and other advanced options. This is freezed. I can't change this as of now. What I can do is I can go to this column settings. I can check this column. And as you can see, this column name, data type, advanced options, all of this, and age, etc. What I can do is, let me just add few more things. I want add. new data, which I just will write add new data. Let's see if it adds or not. And then we'll add more precise prompt. Okay. So it added some more data. And as you can see, the data is 10 rows. Now what I'll do is add a new column which will hold the value, which will hold the movie name. Let's see. So I have all the information of movie ticketing, but I don't know the user for which movie they have booked a ticket for. So let's just see what Copilot does. And does it add a new column or no? Let's see. Has been updated. So do we see a movie column? Yes. And if you see the movie name, it just provided a dummy movie name. What I'll do is update the movie name to Avengers series. Avengers movie series. Let's see what it does. I don't want fiction movie one, movie two. I want real movie names. Oh, wow. So it does follow your command, right? Hence, it is a copilot. What else we can do is add a column with data type date to new column. You have to be more precise with data type of date, which will hold the date time of movie. See what it does. And then probably we are good with our table and we'll move ahead. So if you can see, I followed all the suggestions. And once I'm done with this prompt, I'll ask Copilot to suggest to me few more details. Let's see. Wow, awesome. So I have date as well. You can update this as you require. So you can view the column, you can update, etc. Right now the update is disabled. But if you go to the table properties, you can just see what data types it has. And if you want to update, you can just ask Copilot to update. Now, can you suggest me some movie names? Let's see, a random prompt. Wow. So if you observe what it did is it created a separate table which is just holding a movie name. And this is the new table movie name. This is altogether a different, right? It was not in the same context. I just asked Copilot to suggest some movie names, and it just took my context from up of Avengers and then provided me the Avengers movie name. So let's just go ahead and take a look at Create app. Let's see what it does. So now if you know, we have two tables. One is booking app, movie booking table, and the movie names. Let's see what experience we get to see or in the application. And before I move here, I have some things to discuss. So let's just take a look at that. So as you can see, using prompts, so this is exactly what we did. This was a sample scenario which I took from Microsoft documentation, just for your reference that how you can go ahead and add prompts. So what Microsoft documentation is saying is you just have to sign in and in the text enter a prompt. Probably the intent of your application, maybe ticket booking app or approval app or probably a form, something like that. Just provide a context so that it knows what kind of data table it has to create. Here, the example was hotel housekeeping. I just took a movie ticket booking app, and then it creates a dataverse table. It spins up a new dataverse table for you. Right now, if you see, you are not allowed, or that capability of existing dataverse tables, integrating that with your Copilot is not possible. You can't choose existing dataverse tables. Whenever you go to the Copilot, it will always create a new dataverse table for you. Once you are done, you can just you saw the suggestions which it provided. You can view the columns, update the columns, add new column, change data type, new row, etc. You can do that. And as soon as you click on create app, an app will spin up where you can see the UI, etc. Now let's see next. So I'm going to edit my app with the now another Copilot experience, which is in the side panel, and that is called as a Copilot panel, which will help you to enhance your Power Apps more. So as you can see, I was talking about you can update labels, or you can say that please update the color for all my buttons to blue, or to some theme if you have some theming. So you can do all of those things using Copilot panel. And this is the utmost important screen of this session, what is supported. We talk a lot about Copilot can do this, Copilot can do that, but for as of now, only these things which you are seeing on the screen is supported. So when I'm talking about this thing, this is about Copilot panel, which we are going to use for editing our application. So as you can see from the screen, it can add a new screen, new Power App screen. And what it can do is it can create a new screen. It can add horizontal and vertical containers. These are the controls in your Power Apps, Canvas apps. It can add a gallery. You can edit the form. I mean, you can add edit form control, buttons, labels, inputs, modern controls, which is just recently those who are aware about modern controls, that is as of now not supported. Only the controls which are not modern controls, and only some part of it is available, or you can use it in your Copilot panel to make some changes. Next, you can see the scenarios which are briefed here. You can just perform this set of small actions. And apart from this, if you try anything else, Copilot is just going to give a generic error that it is not able to understand. Please try again with some refined prompts or something like that. So whenever you work with Copilot, be it Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Pages, or Power Virtual Agents, don't forget to refer the documentation and see what is supported as of now. The documentation holds that what Power Pages Copilot supports right now. And if you are doing anything apart from that, then it will throw a generic error. So this is what it is going to perform. Like it will add a new email screen, normal screen, a screen with header footer. It is just like you can just go to the screen and you select some type of screens, right? It is just doing the same thing. It is going to add a new screen, probably a templated screen, and button control. You can change the width. You can add new icon, text label, and bulk editing, just like change color or label, add label, etc. And for a container, you can add a button, or you can have a templatized formulas as well. When clicking on a button, you just you can ask Copilot that on click of this, navigate to the other screen, something like that. So let's go ahead and continue with our editing experience. Wow. So as you can see, I'll play the app. So the worst part here, which you can see, is I just asked Copilot to suggest me the movie name, and it created a new table which was movie names, and it just took that table and created an app on top of it. Right. So you have to be very careful when you are using prompt or natural language, or when you're working with Copilot, because if you move from one context to the other, it will not understand that which table you're going, which you wish to work with, which table you wish to work with. So just make sure that that table which you want to work with, you have that contextual conversation on that line, and then go ahead and create that app. So right now, as you can see, I have just two columns, ID and name. And what I can do is I can add new. I haven't written any single line of code here. I just add 0011, add I mean, s- I'll have a new movie for PTC. So let's just okay, and let's see if it adds. Yes, it is performing exactly what we do in our normal application. This is the gallery. This is the search. Let's see if it can search. Okay, Avengers. Or I will just type PTC. Wow, this is awesome, isn't it? And now I want to edit this. PTC demo. Okay, it is doing some operations and now I want to delete it. Yes, delete. So from this whole in whole application, you can assume that you have gallery. I'll just remove this search, a gallery with a search box, and you can edit, delete, add a new item, and you can update that in this form. So these are all things you can perform. And also you have the header which says movie name. This is just, now let me just tell Copilot that please update the app header label to movie demo. Let's see what it does. It did? No, right? Because this is what I was talking about. Let me just go ahead and exit this experience. And what we'll do is we'll pick up the, okay, now I hope you can see it. This is the container. What I'll do is in this container, state the label name to be BTC, etc. Just let's see if it does or not. I selected the container and now I'm telling that please update the label which is inside this container. Hmm. So you see that I'm getting few generic errors. Sorry, I can't do that yet. Please tell me something else. And Power Apps currently does not support and or else try rewording your request. Now, what I'll do is I'll add a button. Let's see if it does. Here, whatever you are seeing, it will definitely perform that operations. So as you can see, it added a new button. And now what I'll do is, let's do one thing, change the button color to black. And what we will do is once this button color is changed, we will say that get the user profile property. Let's see if it gets or not. Okay, it did. And if you want, you can undo or else you can just like. So if you are, what happens is whenever you're using Copilot, it is best that you interact or you give your response. So if it is performing some operation correctly, then just make sure that, okay, yeah, it is good, it is performing. So that behind the scenes, the engineering team who is working, probably they are gathering this feedback and what you're not able to perform or whatever user response you're giving, probably they'll take this and they'll add more actions to it later on for you so that they can support more things. Let's see, I want to add a formula to this, add a formula to this button to navigate. Okay, before that, add a new screen with header and footer, and then we'll navigate. So do you see what it did? It is not letting me create a screen. And if I click on this add an email screen, to your surprise, it will create. Hmm. So right now the Copilot is only trained to perform some operations. So in this screen, you can see that it is just given me a new screen with all the controls and all the formulas are also intact. So what it does is whenever it creates a new screen, it adds home button, back, previous, etc. And it also adds the formula to it. But right now, when I just told Copilot, a new screen, simple screen. It will not add at all. So see, without header footer as well, it will not add. Let's see if it does or not. Okay, it just adds simple screen right now. Add header and footer to screen 2. Let's see. Hmm. Add a label with name, with text, movie, demo. Wow, it does. It works, but it works with very limited controls. Now change the text size to 36. Oh my God. Okay, I'll just copy my prompt. I'll add again. Let's see if it does. No, it doesn't. Change the label color. Change the label. Yeah, I have to change the text color for label 1 to blue. Let's see. Hmm, it did, right? It needs more precise context, and this is where prompt engineering kicks in. Change the text size for label 1 to 36. Let's try. Wow. So this is how you will also be once you start playing with Copilot, once you start creating or uh, doing some changes to your label, controls, buttons, gallery, etc. Let's add a gallery with, let's see, with movie name table items from movie name table. Let's see if it does.
Hi,
And I
Shrushti.
have, yes,
Sorry to
yes,
interrupt. Yeah, like Uday would be waiting for last 10 minutes if you can wrap it up.
yes, yes, yeah, yeah. So I think we are good right now. This is how you can go ahead and add gallery. You can also ask Copilot to add the items. So if I go to the gallery and right now you see I'm getting an error with movie name. And if you observe, I already have this in place and still it will give error. You have to update your data source. You can ask Copilot to do that, or else you can use the property window, etc. Once you are done, what you can do is next, which what I wanted to show is you can go to your Dataverse. So this is how you can use Copilot to make or help you create your applications. The next thing is Copilot Component. So if you go to the insert screen and there will be a Copilot component, just go to the this screen. I will delete this, all of this, and I will add a Copilot component. And to add this feature to have Copilot component into your environment, what you can just a minute. What you have to do is you have to go to the settings, upcoming features, and you have to enable Copilot. Copilot component is on so that you can have this in-house chat experience, just like something your chatbot or your Q&A, wherein you can get all the information based on a data source. So right now this component, let me just zoom in a bit and I will just wrap this up pretty fast. And you have to associate this with a data source. And right now, this data source probably your app or the context of your app is in some data source. Then just give this as a data source, and then you can edit some properties as well. So this Copilot component comes up with how you can, which view you want. You can edit the fields from your ID, name, like whatever fields you want to add. You can add all those fields from your table, the description, title, placeholder text, etc. Now what we'll do is I'm so what I'm typing is give me the name of users who are above age 20. So if you remember in our table, we only had ID and movie name, right? And the previous table had this value. So let's see what it provides. It will not give me any response. So see, sorry, I don't have the one yet. Give me the movie name for ID 0005. Okay, so connected table isn't enabled or configured to work with. This is what it is saying. Probably there is some admin setting missing. I think it was working fine just before this demo. Let's refresh and check. I'm just telling to give me the name of the movie from the table, which is associated right now. There's something wrong, probably. Configuration miss. I think the table is good, but the views, active movie names, and let's see, we can just and this is how you can have your Copilot component attached to a data source so that it will help your users to get the information quickly from that particular data source. Next, what I have is I'll quickly run through because I have already captured all of those things. Copilot control, this. So this is how you can have Copilot control. You can edit the experience and your users can use that. And Power Automate Copilot is like a much more enhanced version rather than Power Apps Copilot, because Power Apps Copilot only allows you to do small things or limited things right now. But with Power Automate, there is an altogether a new designer. It will help you create new automate flows. You can ask Copilot to add parameters. Uh, you can perform n number of operations with Power Automate Copilot. I have a shortage of time. Otherwise, I would have explained this scenario into more details, but this is a kind of sneak peek. So similar to Power Apps, you can have similarly when you go to the flows. I'll just quickly show here. You can just type in create an approval flow for invoice approvals, and it will just take this input and it will create your flow with all the steps. You can add in the steps as in when required. So right now I did not said my Power Automate flow where the data source is. So it just created, it just assumed SharePoint. It added an approval. If it is approved, then it will send an email and update the item. And if not, then it will send an email about rejection. So this is what it can do. In just few seconds, you have your flow ready. And if you click on next, you can right from this panel, which is Copilot panel, you can add in just on creating flow. There will be a similar panel. This is the new designer. And you can ask your Copilot to add new parameters, add your manager, get your user profile of manager, etc. And it will do all of those operations. So this is what Copilot is in Power Platform as of now. And for references, definitely go ahead and check out the Microsoft reference documentations. So I've mentioned the Microsoft references here. And this is it for any Q&A. I am open to Q&A.